Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to set up a new router and a new home network. Perhaps you've moved home or perhaps you've just purchased a new router. Either way, we'll show you how to set that up quickly and configure it securely. Now, so once you've logged into that Wi-Fi network and you've got your computer or your laptop in front of you, what you need to do is log into the interface. Now, the best way to find out your router interface or its web address that we can access is by simply sending a command in the command line called IP configuration. And all you need to do is press the start button or the Windows button, type in CMD, press enter, and then just type in IP config and press enter. Now what you'll see there is a bit of information. So on this example I'm using a virtual machine, so it may look a little bit different to yours. However, the concept is the same. You'll see a list of all of your adapters. So you might see an Ethernet adapter and you might also see a wireless adapter. In this case, if you are connected via wireless, this information will be sitting under the wireless adapter section, but it will look similar. You'll have an IPv4 address, which is the address of your particular computer that you're using. You'll also have a default gateway. So the default gateway in this case is always the router. So this address, whatever address you've got on your screen, is how you'll log into your router interface. So on your screen, it's more than likely going to be something like 192.168.0.1 or 192.168.1.1. All you're going to do is copy that. You'll open up your a browser or Microsoft Edge browser, whatever you like to use, and you'll basically just paste that right in. So in this case, it's 10.0.2.2. You might have to sometimes just put in HTTP : and 2 backslashes and then the router address. Once you press enter, you'll be brought to the login page of your router. Great, so we're now faced with the login page of your router. Most likely it will have something with local password asking you to log in. That password will be one of two things. Either the password will be on a sticker on the bottom of the router for you to access this interface. If there is no sticker, the password is very, very likely simply just admin. The first thing we would do when setting up a new router, the very, very, very first thing is going to be to reset the router password and effectively change it. So if we don't do that, which unfortunately a lot of people don't, it means that pretty much anybody that has access to either the back of your router or in some instances on older routers, just the password admin can get in and access your router and start doing all types of dodgy stuff. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to administration. This is just on a TP-Link AX 1500 Wi-Fi 6 router. However, it will be similar on all routers. And you'll see this change password. So you'll put in the old password there, set your new password, confirm your new password, and then you would move on to the next section. That is the section. That is the first thing to do. The important settings we want to have a look at is your wireless settings. So you've got the option of 2.4 and 5G wireless settings. This is where you can choose your network name and your password for your wireless network. So you might not want it as complicated as the one on the back of the router, but I'd recommend still using something difficult to guess. In terms of the settings, most important, obviously your network name, your security. If you've got a newer router, you should see WPA2 personal / WPA3. So WPA3 is a newer type of security. So you would select that, but generally speaking, WPA2 personal is what you want. You don't want to choose enterprise if this is your home network, and you definitely don't want to choose WEP. So you're looking for WPA, WPA2 personal, or WPA2, WPA3 personal. When it comes to the version, it will very likely be selected in the correct one anyway. WPA2 PSK. Encryption should be AES. Password is whatever password you would like to put. All of this can be pretty much standard, whatever's in there. And something to note is, in this case, when you set up the Wi-Fi network, we've got 2.4 and we've got 5G enabled. So what that would essentially mean is, if you called it my Wi-Fi home, and then you called your 5G one my Wi-Fi home 5G, what that'll actually do is it'll show you two different networks when you're searching for a Wi-Fi connection. It's going to show you Wi-Fi home, and it's going to show you Wi-Fi 5G. If you make these titles the same, so if we called it my Wi-Fi home and my Wi-Fi home, you won't see two separate connections. You'll just see the one. And what will happen is, depending on the device, depending on the distance, the capabilities of the device, either the 5G network or the 2.4G network will serve that particular device, whatever's the most efficient and the most effective. And that all happens automatically. So that's a personal choice. But for this example, we'll just put the same for both. If you've got a lot of Internet of Things devices, things like Alexas and doorbells and all of that kind of stuff, you can set up a guest network, and what that would mean is, similar to the setup before, we might call it my Wi-Fi home _ guest. What that would mean is we can connect all of those little gadgets to the guest network. They'll still have access to the internet like everything else. However, they won't have access to other devices in your home that are connected to your main Wi-Fi network, as we showed before. That's more of a security thing. It means if you have a device that is particularly weak in security, i.e. some of the early doorbells and smart devices and things like that, if they were to be compromised, the compromise is isolated to that guest network and doesn't actually touch your private network. WPS is definitely something you want to disable. NAT forwarding we're not going to touch on in this video. The one thing we are going to touch on though is uPnP, and we're going to disable it. So we're going to disable uPnP because there's a whole debate about how secure uPnP is. I won't get into it in this video, but if it is enabled, disable it. Alright, that's pretty much all you need to do. The next thing is just make sure if there is a firmware upgrade available, always upgrade to the latest firmware. So you will find these options pretty much in any router, and this is a basic setup for your personal home network. We're looking for uPnP, we're going to disable it. We're looking for WPS, we're going to disable. We're going to change the admin password on the router. We're going to potentially set up a guest network depending on how many devices are being connected. So once you're done, just save that and log out.